Wow, it suddenly got really hot. And I'm wearing full pants instead of shorts. I was thinking back to my high school experience, and I was thinking about how they'd talk about leadership. They try to teach people to be leaders. And it's like, it's so silly how, I mean, that's probably fairly common. I don't know how to put it exactly. Like, there's this idea that it's good to be a leader, and you should always try to be a leader. And of course, it reminds me of that episode of Supernatural where they go to the town full of psychics. Right? A town full of psychics. Shut the fuck up, I'm doing a video here. It's just a machine, it didn't hear me. And even if it did hear me, it couldn't care. It doesn't have a brain. A town full of psychics and charlatans couldn't exist because any psychic needs an entire pyramid of dupes in order to get their money. A town full of it just couldn't function. It was such a stupid idea. Likewise, as anybody could tell you, not everyone could be a leader. I mean, for obvious reasons. So, what kind of society tries to teach people that leadership is good? It's a society that wants a bunch of fucking suckers scrambling so that they can get sold a bunch of shit. That's what. That's the society that we have. I think any kind of sane person recognizes that. Like, wanting to be a leader. And the funny thing is, people buy into it because they're not leaders. They're like, oh, well, I mean, this is what everybody says. It must be true. You know, the exact opposite of a leader mentality. Oh God, my nose itches. But since any kind of smart person is going to recognize that it's silliness, you're going to have a world where the desire to be a leader is directly proportional to how stupid a person is. Because they're like, okay, ooh, I want it. Ooh, I'm driven by emotions. I don't think things through. Ooh, yeah. You see, and you might notice that a lot of leaders who get there by grubbing for it, they are stupid. And it makes the world a bad place. I mean, it's not everybody. Some people become leaders because they have some sort of exceptional ability. But your average, like, let's say your CSR at Walmart, one step above the cashiers, they got there because they wanted it. Actually, I think they phased out that position. Good for Walmart. Part of the thing that makes it tiring to be me is, like, sometimes I get caught off guard and I say something intelligent. And that doesn't go well for me. I'm just thinking about my future McDonald's career, and I'm like, all right, the main thing I'm going to have to do is minimize the smart things I say. That's just every bit of life for me. Don't ever say anything too smart. It never goes well. But the thing is, I don't know what seems smart to other people. I mean, I interject into my sentences with things like I mean and non-fluencies that convey a lack of intelligence, as you've just seen. Try to limit myself to words with fewer than 4 syllables, but somehow that's not enough. It's just this constant work. It makes me not want to interact with people because it's tiring. It's tiring, and you know, whew. Oh my God, it's so hot. You know, people start coming to me for advice, and then, like, all of the shitbags of the world feel threatened, and then it's like, well, I mean, does that feel good for me? I don't necessarily want to be some sort of teacher, and I don't want to have to constantly deal with shitbags feeling threatened. I just want this life to be over. Judging by the bags under my eyes, at least I'm probably not going to live to 80. I mean, the main thing that makes me not want to live is just how lonely I am. Been lonely for a really long time, like my whole life, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna get better. I mean, there's been a few times when I haven't felt as lonely, but it's not like anybody ever understands me. It's not like I can ever just have a life that isn't some sort of constant fight that I can easily win, but it just invites more fights. Like, this world, it's just such shit. Like, I mean, it's probably why I think I'm God, so at least I have some hope of that ending. Although, again, there's that tooth thing. Like, there's no explanation for that. It really weighs on my mind. I mean, like, somebody said it might be a mutation, but I mean, even if somehow I developed a mutation, like, it'd have to be so complex. It'd have to come up with channels that could bore through the current enamel and transport the necessary elements like the calcium, the phosphorus, the hydroxide, etc., so forth, to the hole in the tooth. Then there'd have to be another mechanism to assemble it, and then also know when it has assembled enough of it and stop. And then that would also have to be invisible by inspection. I mean, that'd have to be like a hell of a mutation. That's not happening. I mean, that's less plausible than me being God. That's why X-Men is kind of silly, too, for obvious reasons. Like, there's this one mutant gene that can do all this different stuff. But just think about Cyclops' mutation. Okay, it's a mutation that shoots beams out of his eyes, but it would also have to make his eyelids essentially indestructible so that that beam wouldn't pierce through them when he closed his eyes. Like, that's radically different things. Like, and did the eye beams hurt his skin? Could he block it with his hand? I've never seen it happening in the comics. Kind of suck if that wasn't the case, though. Like, let me look at my hand. Oh, it's gone. Just when I was done being bummed out about the tooth thing, then I get sick, and it's like, man, it's hard not to be rather morose when you got to go to church and you're sick. And it's just, oh, God, just fucking torture. The thing is, I know that people have worse lives than mine. I mean, not everybody, but I mean, there are definitely worse lives than mine. There's this guy at the homeless shelter, has one leg. He was in solitary in prison for more than a year. But it's like, man, could it just? I just want it to be over with. I really do. There's so much sometimes. Just from the constant loneliness, and like it's like this world full of people. It seems like it shouldn't be as lonely as it is, but it always fucking is, because everybody's just gotta say some shit that's very obviously wrong, and there's no having a conversation about it, because you know how people are. And it's not like any highfalutin shit. It's like usually just really obvious stuff. It's like the thing with my dad and the Greys. That's why I go, because it's like the first example I'm exposed to, but it's also as good as all the other examples. It's like, here's how things work. It's like, derp a derp, 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 derp. Nothing I'm saying actually is a equally plausible mechanism for how it should work. I'm just derping at you like a dumbass shithead. Derp a derp, derp derp, derp derp derp, derp a der. It's like, yeah, but no, that is how it works. You've said nothing that's a plausible explanation for how it works, like the thing I said. And there's just like that. It's always some version of that shit with people. So, you know, it's like, I can't bend. It's like, if there's a very simple way that some shit works in principle, it's like I can't just pretend like that's not the case. Can't pretend like, you know, I've just used the same two examples. It goes so long without interacting with people, I forget there's no recent examples, because I know better than to even engage with stuff. The These videos really are unwatchable, but like, what's the point of doing things for popularity? I know what's popular. Oh well, better finish off this pointless video because if it gets too long, YouTube won't let me upload it. Because I have to verify my phone and I can't. Apparently, my text now number isn't good enough. Anyway, toodles.